Welcome back. Okay, now I'm with Jose Felix because Maria Jose has had to leave. She has to go back to her shop. She's a small businesswoman. She owns a shop and she has to be there this afternoon, so she can't stay with us. Okay, Jose Felix, ask me if Madrid has a lot of theaters.
Does Madrid have a lot of theaters?
Yes, it does. Ask me if New York has a lot of interesting areas.
Does New York have a lot of... Does New York have a lot of interesting areas? Interesting
areas? Yes, it does. Ask me if Sydney has a big port.
Does Sydney have a big port?
Yes, it does. Ask me if Nepal has a lot of mountains.
Does Nepal have a lot of mountains?
Nepal? Nepal?
Yes.
Not Nepal, not Nepal. Nepal.
Nepal.
Yes, Nepal has a lot of mountains. Ask me if India has a lot of rivers.
Does India have a lot of rivers?
Yes, it does. Ask me if Texas has a lot of cowboys.
Does Texas have a lot of cowboys?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Ask me if Spain has a lot of interesting museums.
Does Spain have a lot of interesting museums?
Museums? Ahora, does Spain no? Does Spain? Alarga la S de does y enlázala con pain.
Does Spain have a lot of interesting museums?
Museums, no. Museums.
Museums.
Toros Mura, ¿te acuerdas?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to speak to these people. Museo en inglés se pronuncia museum. La palabra de toros Miura, esa primera sílaba de Miura, o Miguel Miura, el dramaturgo, y luego la tarjeta SIM de los teléfonos móviles. Miura, tarjeta SIM. Museum. Se acentúa la segunda sílaba. Museum. Se escribe museum, pero no lo pronuncies así, por favor. Museum. The Prado Museum. The Reina Sofia Museum. The Tyson, in English Tyson. The Tyson Museum. The Dalí Museum in Figueres. Okay. So, ask me if Madrid has a lot of interesting museums.
Does Madrid have a lot of interesting museums?
Yes, it does. And Spain too, yes. Ask me if Oklahoma has a lot of Indians.
Does Oklahoma have a lot of Indians?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Ask me if Colorado has a lot of cows.
Does Colorado have a lot of cows?
Yes, it does. Ask me if Kansas has a lot of underground water.
Does Kansas have a lot of underground water?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay. Now, ask me if China has a lot of people.
Does China have a lot of people?
Yes, it does. Ask me if Mongolia has an interesting history.
Does Mongolia have an interesting history? Does Mongolia have an interesting history?
Muy bien, ahora enlaza las palabras. An interesting. Does Mongolia have an interesting history?
Does Mongolia have an interesting history?
Yes, it does. A very interesting history. Ask me if Turkey has an interesting history.
Does Turkey have an interesting... Does Turkey have an interesting history?
An interesting history. Yes, it does. Ask me if Spain has an interesting history.
Does Spain have an interesting history?
¿Por qué no puedes decir an la primera vez, por favor?
Because I have bad habits.
¿Por qué pones interesting?
The custom.
All right. Does Spain have an interesting history? Have an interesting, todo va ligado. Have an interesting, es como una larguísima palabra. Does Spain, luego hay una pequeña pausa quizás. Does Spain have an interesting history? Does Spain have an interesting history?
Does Spain have an interesting history?
Does Spain
have an interesting history?
Yes, it does. Ask me if Spain has a tragic history.
Does Spain have
Spain, no. Spain.
Does Spain have
a tragic
history?
In my opinion, yes. From beginning to end. Bad luck in many moments. The interesting question is, was the bad luck bad luck, or was the bad luck caused by the people?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
I don't know. That's for my next life to study. But it's very interesting, Spain. Now, ask me how many pages there are in this book.
How many pages are there in this book?
In what book?
In that book.
In this book or in
Yes.
that book?
In that book.
Good. There are 300 pages. Ask me how many movie theaters there are in Madrid.
How many movie theaters are there in Madrid?
I don't know. Maybe about 70 movie theaters in Madrid. Ask me how many service stations there are in Madrid.
How many service stations are there in Madrid?
I don't know. Maybe about 60 or 70. Gasolineras.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the same as cinemas. I don't know. Ask me how many bookstores there are in Madrid.
How many bookstores are there in Madrid?
Maybe about 60 or 70. Ask me how many taxis there are in Madrid.
How many taxis are there in Madrid?
Probably 1 million. I don't know.
I know the date.
The date? La fecha? ¿Qué
The
fecha?
target, sorry, the number.
You know the statistic or the okay.
Yeah.
How many taxis are there in Madrid?
There are about 14,000 taxis in Madrid.
14,000 solo.
Yes.
14,000.
Yes. I've read it in the newspaper last week.
I think there are more. Okay, fine. Ask me how many bus stops there are in Madrid.
How many bus stops are there in Madrid?
Probably 1,000 or 2,000 bus stops in Madrid. Ask me how many major streets there are in Madrid.
How many major streets? Major streets are there in Madrid?
Mm-hmm. Good. Repeat, please.
How many major streets are there in Madrid?
Okay. Escúchame. Ask me how many majors there are in Madrid.
How many majors?
Majors.
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 How many majors are there in Madrid?
I don't know. ¿Comandantes del ejército? ¿Cuántos hay en Madrid? Ni idea. Repeat. How many majors?
How many majors are there in Madrid?
I really don't know. Ask me how many mayors there are in Madrid.
How many majors are
Mayors.
there?
Mayors.
Okay. How many mayors are there in Madrid?
Just one. Mr. Rick Gallardón. El alcalde es comandante del ejército. Ask me if the mayor is a major.
Is the mayor a mayor?
Perdona, has dicho la misma palabra, los dos lados.
Yes.
Escucha. Is the mayor a major?
Okay.
A major?
Is the mayor a
Mayor. Repeat.
Is the mayor a major?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. All right. No. So, mira, major, además de mayor o comandante del ejército, también se usa como algo de mucha importancia o cuando dices las principales ciudades, las principales calles de la ciudad. The major streets. The major economies in the world. Las principales economías mundiales. Estados Unidos, Gran Bretaña, Francia, España en parte, okay? Brasil. Major.
That sound is very difficult for me. I don't know the reason why.
Major.
Chernobyl.
Major.
What's your job?
No, job no. Job.
Job.
Es una J, no una Ch. What's your job? Major. Okay, ask me how many major streets there are in Madrid.
How many major streets are there in Madrid?
Probably about 10 major streets. The Castellana, Alcalá, the Boulevares, and about 10 major arterias grandes. You understand?
Yes.
Major arteries in Madrid. Ask me how many big cities there are in Spain.
How many big cities are there in Spain?
4. Really big cities. Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, and Seville. And then Zaragoza and Bilbao, of course. But there are 4 big cities in Spain. Ask me how many central banks there are in Spain.
How many central banks are there in Spain?
1 or none. Do you understand?
Yes.
Depending on your definition of central bank.
Yes.
The Banco de España, the Bank of Spain, the Spanish Central Bank, continues to function in many ways as a central bank, governing or controlling the activities of the banks or policing a bit the activities. But the central bank is in Europe now. It's in Strasbourg. Where's the Banco Central Europeo?
I think it's located in Frankfurt.
It's in Frankfurt. Okay, good. All right. And ask me how many countries there are in the European Union.
How many countries are there in the European Union?
Now I don't know. 27?
25. No, sorry, 27.
Okay.
Yes.
Romania and Bulgaria? I can't remember who was added.
The last two ones?
The last two were Romania, and what was the other? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Slovenia? Slovenia? Perhaps?
No, Slovenia.
Slovenia, no, I don't remember.
Entered before.
Okay. Now, ask me how many states there are in the United States.
How many states are there in the United States?
¿En dónde?
In United States.
¿En dónde?
In United States.
¿En Estados Unidos o en los Estados Unidos?
In the United States.
Sí, es una deformación aquí en castellano que habéis quitado los. Okay, en los Estados Unidos, en el Reino Unido, okay? En los Estados Unidos mexicanos también. In the United States siempre.
Okay.
Y solo en España se dice en Estados Unidos. En México, Argentina, Chile se dice en los Estados Unidos. Okay.
Okay.
Porque son 50 específicos los Estados Unidos. Okay, in the United States. How many states there? 50.
And Puerto Rico?
No, Puerto Rico is not a state. Puerto Rico is a territory. Do you understand? It doesn't have statehood. Okay?
Okay.
It's not a state. And ask me how many provinces there are in Spain.
How many provinces are there in Spain?
There are 50, the same provinces in Spain, plus the towns of Ceuta and Melilla, which are not considered provinces. Now, ask me what the biggest province is in Spain.
What's the biggest province in Spain?
Biggest is con B, no?
Biggest.
Eso.
What is the biggest province in Spain?
In area, I think Badajoz or Ciudad Real is the biggest province in Spain. I think Badajoz is the biggest.
And León, it's
very big?
Yes.
I would bet, check tonight at home, but I will bet that it's Ciudad Real or Badajoz.
Okay.
And I would say probably Badajoz, but I'm not sure. Ask me what the smallest province is in Spain. What's
the smallest province in Spain?
In area, the smallest province is Guipúzcoa. All right. Ask me what the richest province is in Spain.
What's the richest province in Spain?
The richest province in Spain, I think, is Mallorca, the Balearic Islands, in income per capita, not in gross community product. Do you understand?
Yes.
Producto regional bruto, no. Producto comunitario bruto is Madrid.
Madrid.
Okay,
yes.
but I think in income per capita, it's the Balearic Islands. Ask you what the poorest province is in Spain.
What's the poorest province in Spain?
I don't know. Soria, Teruel,
no. Soria
Orense?
is upper to the average. And Badajoz maybe.
No, Badajoz is very rich. Badajoz has the area of Almendralejo and Don Benito and Villanueva de la Serena, or Sirena, I can't remember. And it has the area of the Pata Negra, too. Valle de Caballeros, it has a lot of very important areas. Tafra is a very important center for tourism. Badajoz city itself, Mérida, has a lot of tourism. I think Badajoz is relatively rich. And there's a lot of irrigation, riego, in that area. Don Benito and Villanueva are very, very rich communities.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think, but you can check your statistics tonight.
Yes, I check them.
Okay, you can check.
Yes.
But I would guess, yo adivinaría, se dice en inglés, I would guess that Teruel or Soria.
No. Soria.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
All right. Yes. Then I really don't know. Maybe Albacete, Teruel, Orense, maybe. Lugo, I don't know.
They're under the average.
They're under the average. I really don't know, Jose Felix. Now, ask me what the poorest state is in the United States.
What's the poorest state in the United States?
I don't know. I think Mississippi. Yeah, Mississippi has traditionally been the poorest state in the United States. Ask me what the richest state is in the United States.
What's the richest state in the United States?
The richest state is California. Ask me what the biggest state is in population.
What's the biggest state in the population? In populations in the United States? Population.
California. All right. Ask me how many people there are in California.
How many people are there in California?
Maybe around 38 million. Not almost as big as Spain. Ask me what the smallest state is in population.
What's the smallest state in population?
Population.
Population. Population in the United States.
Papua. Guinea Papua.
Yeah.
Population. No es population, pero te llevo a ese extremo para que te sitúes bien.
Yes.
Population. The smallest state in the United States in population is Wyoming. Ask me how many people there are in Wyoming.
How many people are there in Wyoming?
About 400,000 or 450,000, less than 500,000. Ask me how big Wyoming is in area.
How big is Wyoming in area? In area.
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 Good. How big is Wyoming in area? I think it's about almost as big as Andalusia. It's quite big. And ask me what the most industrial state is in the United States.
What's the most industrialized?
Industrial.
Okay.
Ask me what the most industrial state is.
What's the most industrial state? Industrial state in the United States.
I don't know now. Everything has changed. But I think...
Maybe Illinois, maybe?
No. Illinois is probably number 4 in the top 5. But I would say Michigan or Indiana are the most industrial. Also California, because California has a lot of high-tech. If you include high-tech industries within the industrial base of the United States, then maybe California is the most industrial.
In what state is located Detroit?
In Michigan. In Michigan. But you see, it's deprimido ahora. The car industry, heavy industry, traditional industry, everywhere in the Western world, in Spain, in France, it's depressed. In Korea, perhaps Japan, China now, industry is young, based on new technologies. You see, industry, actividad industrial, de industria media, baja y high-tech. Medium technology, high technology, and even low technology need technology. And so a new country like China, they build new factories with the state-of-the-art technology. And usually, of course, the labor is also very inexpensive. Do you understand labor?
Yes, the mano de obra.
Yes, it's very inexpensive. So you have the best technology with inexpensive labor, and so it's very difficult for traditional industrial countries to compete because they have received a lot of, from the past, labor problems, high salaries or high wages, older in technology that needs to be transformed, and it's very expensive. So it's difficult. It's difficult.
But from now on, I suppose the situation will change.
Situation?
The situation will change.
In what way?
In the price of labor.
So you think the price of labor will go down in America?
No, will increase in China.
It's a cycle. It's always the same. But it will take 20 years or 30 years for the price of labor, the cost of labor, se dice más, to reach levels in other countries. So it takes a long, long time. And when China's moving up, Vietnam will be here.
Yes.
Or Brazil. Okay.
Yes.
Ask you what the most important country is in Latin America.
What's the most important country in Latin America?
Country.
What's the most important country in Latin America?
No dices bien país. Country.
Country.
Come. ¿Cómo dice venir?
Come.
Quita la M y pon N.
Country.
Okay, ahí está. Country.
Country
road, take me home. Do you know the song?
Yes.
To the love I belong. West Virginia, country road. No, country. Country road, country. El sol?
The sun.
Ponme una C delante. Country. Okay, now ask me what the most important country is in Latin America.
What's the most important country in Latin America?
Probably in economic terms, Brazil. All right? Ask me what the smallest country is in Latin America.
What's the smallest country in Latin America?
The smallest in area is probably Belize. Okay, Belize. Or
Yes.
what? Well, if you include the Caribbean, okay, maybe Tobago, I don't know, Trinidad, I don't know, very small. Ask me what the most important country is in copper.
What's the most important country?
Country.
Country.
No me alargues la primera sílaba de esa palabra. Country.
What's the most important country in copper?
Copper.
Copper.
Copper. Cobre, right? Copper.
Yeah, copper.
Chile is the most important country in copper. Ask me what the most important country is in tequila.
What's the most important country in tequila?
Uy, qué mal suena. Country.
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 Oh
qué
my God.
difícil es erradicarte los mal.
Yes, it is.
Okay, the most important country for tequila, of course, is Mexico. Or maybe
course.
the United States, but I think Mexico. Ask me what the most important country is in Asia, in natural gas.
What's the most important country in Asia in natural gas?
I don't know. Maybe Russia, maybe Saudi Arabia, or maybe Iraq or Iran. But definitely Russia is one of the most. Ask me what country is the most important supplier of natural gas to Europe.
What's the most important country
No,
supplier?
what country is the most important supplier?
Yeah.
What?
What country is the most important supplier
For natural?
for natural gas
To
Spain or to Europe?
To Europe?
I don't remember.
Yeah, to Europe.
To Europe.
Russia, of course. Russia, I don't know, maybe 50% or more, or even more, 70, 80% of the natural gas comes from Russia. Okay, so it's very important dependence. Ask me what country is the most important supplier of oil to the United States.
What's the most important?
What country?
What country is the most important supplier of oil to United States?
To the
United States.
No, to the United. To the United.
To the United States.
Mexico is the most important supplier of oil to the United States.
Oil used like petrol.
Used as petrol.
Used.
No, está bien. Es interesante lo que has dicho. Mira, acaba de decir, bueno, yo acabo de decir que México es el primer proveedor de Estados Unidos en términos de petróleo. Y es cierto, exportado, vamos. Mexico is the most important supplier of oil to the United States. And Jose Felix asked, oil como petróleo? Y dijo, like petroleum. Y le corrigió, no, as petroleum. Okay, like petroleum significa como si fuera petróleo. Es que oil, in inglés, oil has three meanings, basically. Oil means aceite vegetal, como aceite de oliva, aceite de colza, the oil. Number two, aceite de motor, oil in your engine. Y luego la palabra genérica que usamos para petróleo, oil. Si descubres petróleo en tu jardín, dices, I have found oil. There's oil in my garden, oil. Never petroleum, se dice oil. Entonces, él ha dicho, oil like petroleum? No. As petroleum, porque lo es. Okay? Si dice like petroleum, dice oil como parecido al petróleo. No, parecido nada, es que lo es. Okay. Si yo dijera, estoy aquí como profesor, y yo digo, I'm here like a teacher, estoy diciendo que estoy aquí actuando como si fuera profesor o no lo soy. I am not here like a teacher, I'm here as a teacher. Ahora, si yo soy el presidente de esta compañía y quiero dirigiros unas palabras, y yo os digo, ladies and gentlemen, as the president of this company, como presidente de esta compañía, quiero daros la bienvenida a esta reunión, a esta conferencia. As the president, porque lo soy, y luego me siento. Y el segundo de a bordo se levanta y él dice, like the president, al igual que el presidente, también quiero daros la bienvenida. Aquí, as the president, like the president. It's very, very different. So be careful sometimes with this, as in like. All right, we need to take a break, Jose Felix. We'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go too far away.